Floor is yours.
Thank you. I'm going to present our paper. It's about the similar metal weld between martensitic and austenitic steel. First, a little introduction about this topic. To operate the power plant at elevated temperature and pressure, the demand for the material with high creep rupture strength, high thermal conductivity, and high corrosion resistance increased significantly. The new materials resistant to high operating temperatures, also called heat resistant steels, are used for manufacture of ultra supercritical parts of boiler plants, and that as steam lines, tubes for superheaters and collectors. So all the demands for high efficiency in power plants led to development of these new enhanced materials like the martensitic steel, the austenitic steel, the nickel alloys, and alloys that work in high temperature application. So this H10, or also known as P91 steel, is enhanced ferritic martensitic alloy that is characterized by its excellent mechanical properties, including high creep resistance, toughness, and oxidation resistance at elevated temperature. That makes this steel suitable for critical components like piping and pressure vessels. The dissimilar metal welded joints between martensitic and austenitic steel that is the subject of this investigation are often used in energy and process industry. For the creation of this type of joint and creation of a weld with acceptable structural characteristics, all recommendations and parameters of the welding process and the heat treatment needs to be followed. This paper reviews the current welding technology of dissimilar metal weld between the martensitic steel and austenitic stainless steel, and also is conducted experimental work of weld without the post-weld heat treatment. According to the different chemical composition of the materials for creation of dissimilar joint, one of the materials, that is the P91 steel or the martensitic steel, will encounter the carbon diffusion due to the difference in chromium content between the two different materials. Because the carbon moves from the material with low chromium content to material with high chromium content. And this decarbonization zone can be avoided with the use of nickel-based filler material that is presented on figure 1. Since carbon does not diffuse into the nickel-based material, using welding parameters such as preheating and post-weld heat treatment for the martensitic steel, the best way of joining of these two materials is with thick process. The current, as it's presented on the figure, the martensitic steel is buttered from the one side with a nickel-based material, and then is performed post-weld heat treatment, and the next step is joining with the austenitic stainless steel. Here we can see some defects between the joint of the two type of different materials. The dissimilar welded joint between the martensitic and austenitic stainless steel always represents a critical place in a system in terms of possible occurrences of defects, and failure mechanisms were noticed in thicker section between dissimilar weld with the austenitic steel. So in one report were documented serious defects of thick section of the martensitic steel in the dissimilar weld. So the most, as we can see in figure 3, the most common failure has been cracking along the weld fusion line between the martensitic steel and the nickel-based weld metal, which is presented on figure 3. So in this presentation, this paper, thick pipes are investigated between the martensitic and austenitic steel. Additional material is used, nickel-based alloy. We can see the probes or the specimen on the next slide, the different welding technology that is used. The buttering is used to provide a compatible weld metal. So the aim of this paper will be research of the influence of welding technology on the mechanical properties, so that we can be able to draw a conclusion about the long term of use of welded joint in high temperature applications. Here on table 1, we can see the different technology for the martensitic steel. We have two probes, specimen 3 and 4, that are made according to the current welding technology, the preheating and the post-weld heat treatment, and specimen 1 and 2 without the post-weld heat treatment. And on figure 4, we can see the schematic diagram of the welded joint. All of the 4 samples are made with the creation of buffer zone, where it's created a butter layer on the martensitic steel. And then an experimental work is done with several tests. Here on table 2, we can see first it was conducted a tensile testing. The test was conducted on ambient temperature. These dissimilar metal welds are required, or the tensile test that we are conducting requires a minimal value of the ultimate tensile strength of the base material with a lower tensile strength. So the weaker parent material or the base material for this dissimilar metal joint is the austenitic stainless steel. We have here the results from the test, and we can see that the fracture is only on specimen 3 is on the weld metal, and the other 3 on the austenitic stainless steel. Next was hardness testing. The hardness measurement was performed on 30 locations, as we can see on the figure, using HAVE-10 method. Here we have separated lower and upper zone. The measurement locations were presented. You can see on each zone, the 2 base materials, the buttering layer, the heat affected zone, and the weld metal. So from these 2 tests, or we can see from the obtained results, we can see that we meet the acceptance criteria for a minimal value of ultimate tensile strength of the base material, which is with a lower tensile strength, and that was the austenitic steel. Here we can see on the second figure, we can see the specimen with the probe that was fractured on the weld metal, and that was it's an example of failed welding technology, which includes welding technique, buttering, preheating, or post-weld heat treatment. So from the hardness testing, we can see from the 2 figures from the hardness measurements, the sample of hardness distribution of the tested joint is given in the figure 7. We can see that we have a higher value of the base material, martensitic base material, that was without the post-weld heat treatment. And for the other, we are on the limits from the hardness value. Also a microstructure analysis was conducted, so to characterize the weld metal, the heat affected zone, and the base materials. It was using an optical microscope. So we can see here the weld metal, the third picture. The weld metal has austenitic structure, which is without chromium carbide zone that becomes brittle in the martensitic weld deposition zones. And on the other 2 figures is presented the microstructure of the martensitic weld deposit transition zone, where we have here the buffer zone, which was created with the nickel-based additional material. So the battering layer has an austenitic structure with dendrite phase solidification. These two used materials for this singular weld are with different chemical composition, and welding of these two materials may occur structural heterogeneities on the line of fusion of the welded joint, and during the operation at elevated temperature. So microstructural analysis showed no cracks or imperfections on critical regions as the heat affected zone and the weld metal. So with this research work, we were investigating the mechanical and the microstructural properties that are critical for ensuring the integrity of welded components. With understanding of these properties, we can improve the design of critical structures. From the performed test, it can be concluded that the critical site for fracture is the austenitic site. The specimen or the probe tree was an example of failed welding technology, and in order to make a conclusion about the mechanical properties of these two dissimilar welded joints, we need to, like future work, we need to examine test the toughness, tension test with short-term test at high temperature, like 600 degrees of this dissimilar welded joint, and also SEM analysis of the dissimilar metal weld as future work about this research. Thank you for your attention. I think I'm in time.